Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between Beasty Cutie versus AAA's Nerchio here on Metalopolis. You see Beasty Cutie spawning as the yellow Terran player at the 12 o'clock position, meanwhile Nerchio spawning here as the pink Zerg over here at the 6 o'clock position. I'm trying to still figure out different ways of setting up my PC to record better so that there's more frames per second. Let me know if you guys notice a drop off. I am recording in 1080p for those of you guys who have powerful enough internet connections or are able to afford it or just happen to live on campus or anything along those lines. Yeah, just please let me know, as I am trying to give you guys the best experience in StarCraft 2 commentary as well. Now, Nerchio has spawned full cross spawn here on Metalopolis, and this is going to be an interesting opening. Nerchio has a number of options. He can try to go for a fast hatchery, or he can go for that spawning pool first. And I've seen both being used really heavily recently. Players like Idra really like to go for that 15 or even that 14 hatchery. Meanwhile, some players like to go for that early spawning pool. Having an earlier spawning pool means that you can put down pressure and get a little bit more map control early on, and also you don't really lose that much larva because you are able to get your queen up significantly faster. The queen definitely helps out in terms of your larva production, as it looks like we are going to be going into a hatchery first. So it looks like it will be a 15 hatchery here. And once again, I've said it in the past, the benefit of Zerg being able to just queue up 2 drones at the same time after delaying this hatchery here, one of the best things. Overlord has scouted out absolutely nothing so far. We're going to see how this all plays out, as Nerchio did scout out, or is now scouting out, and does see that there is a barracks on the ramp. He was unable to get by though, but there is a gas now being mined by Beasty Cutie. Beasty Cutie should be upgrading to an orbital command in just a moment, now training up a Marine as an SCV makes his way out in order to do some scouting. Spawning pool has just been placed down by Nerchio. So we'll see when exactly the queens and the Zerglings will be coming out. Nerchio should be able to train up double queens in just a moment, but he is going to go for an extractor as well. So he is not going to have that many minerals. He's going to try to get that metabolic boost much more quickly, being able to chase after Marines in open field, try to catch them in transit, and also close in on that melee distance. That's so important. Now it looks as though, yes, one drone is taking a look around, making sure that there are no bunkers nearby. The problem with Nerchio was that he left his one drone, or he left his Overlord just move out, and now the SCV did scout this out. And is a bunker going to be placed down? Yes, a bunker is now down. Does Nerchio spot this? He does spot this, but he hasn't really done anything just quite yet. You can see the drones are now trying to make their way in. The drones are going after the SCV. Oh, one drone does get taken down, as the drones are unable to pin up into that back corner. Very lucky by Beasty Cutie, having that one SCV hiding in that back location, and it's not changing spots. They're finally changing spots. It looks like the Zerglings are going to be able to get it. One Marine does get taken down, and Beasty Cutie is forced to cancel his very early bunker harassment. Not very well executed, as it is full cross spawns, but Beasty Cutie now setting up a command center of his own to try to make sure that he does not fall behind in the economic game. Should be also able to double train up Hellions so he does not He is not too far behind, and does not allow Nerchio to just freely drone up. Zergling's now looking to do some scouting, but the Zergling's not really going to spot much. The Zergling could try to get this one Zelnaga tower here, gain sight on it. The Zergling, if it comes up the ramp, it will see that there is a Hellion or a factory there, and yes, factory and a Hellion is down. The Zergling pretty much knows that its days are numbered, getting some damage onto the Hellion before it goes away. Meanwhile, back over here, adding in a Spine Crawler as well. Spine Crawler being added in, it should help making sure that the Hellions are not going to be able to just simply poke up and get in some easy shots. The Zerglings over here ready to intercept those Hellions if they try to go up the ramp. Very nice play, as Nerchio now looking to get even more drones and more queens, and now needs to get some significant creep tumors. And now we see a Beasty Cutie also setting up another command center here, and it looks like he's going to be floating them off to the gold mineral patch. Zergling quickly getting torched down. Metabolic boost is not quite ready, and this is a very heavy economic build, and it looks like it will get scouted out by Nerchio. Nerchio is going to see this one command center here, and it's not going to really be stopped, as we are now going into Marines and perhaps siege tanks with siege tech. Hellions. On the far side, it looks like a evolution chamber is going to be added. In addition to a Roach Warren, those Hellions are not going to be able to poke their head in and get that much damage. There's 2 queens in position. Zerglings, oh, Zerglings getting torched down. They need to stay up on that high ground and try to make sure that they do not get torched by those Hellions. A quick scanner sweep could reveal that, though, and then they perhaps could drive by in just a moment. You can see the command center is off over here. Nerchio does spot this, as now we see that the Hellions trying to engage against the Queens. Queens now being forced to pull back just a little bit. As we now see the Overlord in position here, it looks as though this command center, if it is not scouted out, Nerchio may just think he's trying to do a suicide move or a straight move into the gold. Nerchio gonna lose this Overlord, and he's not gonna know about the natural expansion and the command center that was originally here. So that, excuse me, that is a big change. As now you see the Queens backing off. Creep tumors have been laid down. It looks like they're going to be connecting and trying to establish the creep highway across the center, and now perhaps calling in additional mules over here, knowing that they cannot take the center yet. Roaches are now starting to be added. Was that a cancellation on a roach? I actually think that was a cancellation on a roach. So it looked like a roach was just, nope, it looks like the roach did just hatch. I looked and just apparently mistook it for something completely different. Roaches now making their way out, but they're going to be running straight into a group of siege tanks. Beasty Cutie with the supply depots offering a lot of protection for these siege tanks. Roaches, if they try to get into here, double siege tanks will be able to blast them apart. Roaches and now Zerglings bringing up the rear. We'll see whether or not this army is going to be able to bust open this front door. There is a defender's advantage for Beasty Cutie. He needs to get this 3rd siege tank sieged up and quickly. Is he going to be able to do so? And yes, the Roach is now trying to push in. Marines trying to fight back. And now SCVs coming around the far side as well. Siege tanks now blasting apart. It looks like this one supply depot will get taken down, but a rather sloppy play by Nerchio. Nerchio losing a lot of his forces there and just trying to beat his head up against this front door. And SCVs, siege tanks in a very defensive posture, able to hold the line. I do believe some workers were killed. 33 harvesters compared to 50 of those. Siege tanks unfortunately doing a bit of splash damage and taking down some of their own friendly fire units. Beasty Cutie does have this additional orbital command here. He should be able to train up a lot more SCVs if he wants to try to get this game to go long. I'm not quite sure why he has a 3rd orbital command and not training up SCVs. Finally training up workers, as Beasty Cutie just trying to macro up and make sure that his opponent does not get too far ahead. Nerchio already setting up a hatchery in the middle portion of the map as well. So this is a rather strange move, as Nerchio knows about that 3rd command center. Roaches now pushed in, and it looks like those Hellions are not going to be able to do very much at all. There are 4 Zerglings on the ramp. It looks like those Hellions gonna just run straight into a group, and now a drone gonna grow up and be in hatchery. So this is gonna be a double expand at the 11-minute mark. Nerchio already has this hatchery up at the gold, and as soon as he transfers some drones over, he is gonna get a very strong economy going. Harvester economy already 53 compared to 41, but a slightly stronger for Beasty Cutie, as drones are in the process of being transferred, and when you're transferring drones from one base to another, they're obviously not harvesting. Now we see 16 drones here off of these 6 mineral patches. Perfect saturation for these mineral patches here, as we are now going to have a rather large army coming in from Beasty Cutie. This is going to be very bad news, but I believe Nerchio will spot this, and he's not going to really be able to do much. Sees the siege tanks. The siege tanks are going to be able to finish off those Zerglings, and the drones now need to run away. Have they mined enough is the key question. I do not believe so, as the hatchery now getting shelled from the center Zelnaga towers there, and now the Zerglings trying to push their way through. Roaches pushing their way through as well. Roaches on the far side. Marines trying to fight back. It looks like that one siege tank from the high ground was able to get in some easy damage, and Beasty Cutie may be forced to retreat here in order to fight this back. Marines and Marauders siege tanks need to retreat, as the Roaches are now running through and just swarming this Terran base here, taking down SCV after SCV. Siege tanks, Marines are now coming back in once more. Beasty Cutie now down to only 1 base mining. Those SCVs are in a bit of trouble, as you can now see a missile turret gonna get sniped down. Yes, down goes the missile turret, already on fire. Siege tanks gonna finish this up. Siege tanks attacking very quickly, dealing 25 damage per attack, and now calling in more mules as well. Nerchio doesn't want to fall too far behind. He wants to make sure that he has a strong economy. He has 58 drones compared to 41 SCVs. Army composition's about the same so far, only a slight difference. as Nerchio does have a 25 food advantage at this point. Zerglings are upgraded 0-1, so it is going to take more than one shot from a siege tank to take it down, as the Zerglings now swarming here. And what is going to be happening? It looks like the siege tanks are going to siege up. Marines now going to try to fight this back, and it looks as though, no, the Zerglings are not going to really try to press their luck at all. One poor larva going to die as soon as it jumps off the creep there. Marine capturing this Xel'Naga tower here as the Marines... Oh, there's a fungal growth catching 4 Marines. 200... Oh, what is this? A 1 hit point Marine being left to survive. Not quite sure what that's about. There you go. There's that larva. It gets destroyed when it is off of creep. Now, Mule's being called in, and Beasty Cutie with an additional orbital command mining away at the gold, and he's going to try to defend this very, very well. He has siege tanks and Marines. You can see the Marines are at each of the Xel'Naga towers here. It's going to be very difficult to break. The Infestors are going to have a very hard time if they're ever going to be able to deal any true damage, as though Infestors came in from over here. What did I miss? Wow. So you can see that there are infested Terrans just constantly firing over here, able to get a lot of these SCVs, get them taken down. So burrowed infested Terrans, and now Infestors. Are we going to get more? No, the siege tank's able to finish them off, but that was a rather cute play. And now taking a look at the harvester count, 71 compared to 32. So yeah, 71 compared to 32, as the Zerglings are now going to try to swarm in. Siege tanks, Marines, now just weakening this. Marauder getting taken down. Roaches could finish this off. Down goes a Roach there. And it looks like this is just trying to flank and push in along this side over here. And this is a problem with Terran. Terran is not very mobile. They try to draw a line in the sand, and because they did not protect this area here, the units were simply able to slip by, and now we're going to see a rather large army pushing in at the natural expansion. Meanwhile, Nerchio running off of what will be 4, almost 5 bases in just a couple more seconds, as the Roaches now perhaps try to engage. There are siege tanks back over here. What's going to be happening? The Roaches are now hugging along the far side. There is a siege tank over here dealing some damage, and now in comes the push. Zerglings now trying to swarm their way through. Marines trying to engage. There's not nearly as many siege tanks in the center as there are a couple Infestors. Are we going to get some fungal growths? There's the fungal growth hitting off all of those Marines there. Another fungal growth could be coming in. Are we going to see it? It should be there. Yes, another group of fungal growth. There you go. So many Marines now in the red, but this is not looking good at all for Nerchio. There's also one Infestor hiding off on the backside. It looks like it will get taken down. So Beasty Cutie able to hold on, even though he is behind economically. 84 harvesters compared to 41. Beasty Cutie is mining off the gold, so that is definitely going to help him here. Overlords now in position. Not quite sure why they're in a Congo line like that, just in the air hanging out, as we are now going into tier 3, level 3 infantry upgrades. Infestors and Roaches still being trained up, as I'm not quite sure who has the advantage. Nerchio has a very, very strong, large army, and also a much stronger economic race and economic lead, but it seems like Nerchio has just lost a lot more, and he hasn't been playing that well. He's just winning with superior numbers, and it's often macro does come into play much more than micro, but we are now going into 3-3 upgrades for those Marines and those Marauders. Meanwhile, the Zerglings are just 1-2 upgraded right now, and it looks like those 3-2 upgrades are just going to be completed in just a second. Siege tanks trying to siege. Is it going to be enough? The Marines, Infestors now coming in. Infestors getting off a couple fungal growths, and it looks like many of those Marines are just going to get taken down, and I believe Beasty Cutie, with a lot of siege tanks and nothing else, only a couple Marines in the front, gonna try and press his luck still, taking down all of these creep tumors. There are no banelings whatsoever, as the Marines need to back off as the siege tanks out of siege mode. Are they gonna even go into siege mode? Yes, they are gonna go into siege mode and clean up all of these creep tumors still. Infestors are still wandering back once more. There are a couple missile turrets over here, but they are not going to really be able to do anything. Siege tanks trying to fight this back here. Drones coming off the mineral line, swarming, and Beasty Cutie losing his siege tanks here. But the infested Terrans now, or Infestors now coming in. Fungal growth, chain fungal growth. So many SCVs now killed there, and now backing off once more. 36 compared to 72. As the SCVs try to just deal some damage to their lost brethren, and now they are down, as Zerglings and Roaches continuing to push in the center. Losses still 5,000 more for Nerchio, but Nerchio does have the stronger economy right now. Nerchio still mining at more than double his opponent, 74 harvesters compared to 34, as we now have a hatchery here at the 9 o'clock position. So we'll see how this all works out. Terran Terran Beasty Cutie having a lot of gas, almost 1400 gas. He needs to get many more medevacs, perhaps even more siege tanks into the field in order to soften this up. Marines now going to try to stim in. That's a very, very bad fight right there. 6 Marines against the swarm of the Zerg, deciding to finally back off. But there is another medevac over here, and I believe the medevac will get spotted. Is Nerchio watching his minimap? Marines gonna get dropped and snipe down this hatchery over here. It looks like we are gonna have more Marines sniping down and take this over here. This is gonna be a triple drop, one in each location, and now this hatchery has been destroyed. Now coming in, Marines pushing into the main base, going after the extractor. That was the least important building of them all, as the Marines are now going to try to fight back against the Zerglings. The Marines are upgraded 3-2, quickly jumping in, and now the Marines, have to be careful. Beasty Cutie quickly picking up his lone Marine there and backing off, and now in comes another drop. So Beasty Cutie really trying to be everywhere at once, but with no Marauders in this drop group, this is not really looking good. Beasty Cutie is trying to even things up, even though he is currently behind by 70 food. Is it going to be enough to really do anything at all? He does see that army, and now in comes the engagement. I believe the Marines need to jump inside, but in comes another engagement over here. Beasty Cutie going to perhaps stim out and now engage into the base. Roaches are going to quickly fall here. Zerglings are not going to really be able to do very much, as the Zerglings are not even on upgrades. Going after the extractors, going after the hive tech, perhaps even the spawning pool. Yes, spawning pool gonna get sniped down. One Marine trying to keep track of what's going on, as the infestors are now making their way over. Are we going to get a fungal growth is a key question. Infested Terrans trying to catch up, unable to do so. The fungal growth does not hit, and those units are able to survive. Beasty Cutie still running off of 2 bases, and he does not have that much life left in him still. Ultralists now making their way out. The Ultralists are upgraded with 5 armor, or 6 total armor, and with no Marauders. I do not believe those Marines will be dealing very much damage to these Ultralists. Ultralists with 500 hit points and able to take a lot of damage from these siege tanks. It looks like the Ultralists are going to be making their way forward, doing a bit of a push here. Ultralists do move fairly quickly, and now going to simply run in. One Ultralist runs into his death, but the Infestor is right behind. There's the fungal growth, and Beasty Cutie all of a sudden losing his line in the sand at the gold mineral patches. Marines trying to do a bit of that stutter step. It's not going to work out. Another siege tank gets destroyed. There's a fungal growth, as more and more infested Terrans are now being launched, and also infested Terrans and a fungal growth. It looks like the medevac is going to get shot down. Down it goes as the Ultralists continue this run into the main base. There is a command center off over here, still not landing. It looks like this orbital command will get destroyed. No, it is now flying away. It's flying because of those infested Terrans. Infested Terrans dealing 8 damage per attack. The infested Terrans so powerful, as Beasty Cutie forced to waste a scanner sweep in order to get an orbital command here and land it off. It looks as though Ultralists coming in, chomping away at the bit. Ultralists slicing through the army. Infestors, not much energy left, and there is the game. Beasty Cutie saying G after doing some very smart trades. If you take a look at the losses, Nerchio lost slightly more than Beasty Cutie, but Beasty Cutie just was never able to get up and running up to full speed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this series between Beasty Cutie and Nerchio, taken from the Z Cup.